Spirits remain high.
We're ready to be out here for as long as it takes.
As union auto workers continue their strike against CNH Industrial.
100% everybody's behind each other.
A meeting at the local union hall was followed by over 100 protesters forming picket lines outside Mount Pleasant's Case plant. Striking employees held up UAW signs as the farm equipment they would normally be building was shipped out.
We come in here every day. We do our jobs. We support each other on a day-to-day basis, and we just want a fair shake.
Starting Saturday, the union will be responsible for the health insurance of striking employees. A statement from CNH Industrial says those discussions took place before the strike started last Monday and said in part there will be, quote, no gap in coverage for striking employees.
We were essential workers during the pandemic. However, when we got to that bargaining table, we didn't seem so essential.
UAW Local 180 President Yasin Mahdi says his side is ready to negotiate a fair agreement, one including more vacation time, better wages, and working conditions.
Our phones haven't rang to say, hey, look, we'd like to talk to you guys. We just want a fair agreement. I don't think that's too much to ask for in 2022.
This is Steve Zeltzer with WorkWeek. And I'm talking today with Yasin Mahdi, and he's president of UAW Local 180 Case Holland. And their local and the other local 807 have been on strike for decent wages and conditions, and they're going to be having a rally this coming Saturday, December the 17th. So welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me on.
So Yasin, why don't you talk about your struggle, what your company produces, and how long you've been on strike?
We have been on strike since May 2nd. What we make here in Racine is the Case Magnum tractor, which is a high horsepower tractor of 300 to 400 horse, home of the Magnum. We also make some New Holland tractors here. Now, sister plant in Burlington, Iowa, they make construction equipment, specifically bulldozers and backhoes.
And you've had some economic struggle. What are the conditions and the wages that have led you to take the action that you've taken of a strike?
So I would say the conditions and the struggles are, number one being the wages, right? So when you look at what other area manufacturers in the area are making, we are nowhere near close. And these other area manufacturers are not producing heavy duty equipment. For instance, there's a gummy bear place about 15 miles or 15 minutes away from here that is starting their employees at $26 an hour, right? So, and this is a brand new place, but there's a lot of things, manufactured in Racine and the surrounding areas, whether it's chocolate, cranberry sauce, Glade products. These are all products that we use or consume on a daily or weekly basis. So, and all of these manufacturers are paying their employees more money to make a product that does not require heavy lifting or anything of that nature. So, all things considered, the type of assembly work at Case or CNH is much more involved from a skill set. And their wages are not close to what other area manufacturers are paying. In fact, the company is paying their non-union places a lot more money than us. And when I say a lot more, I'm talking $6 to $7 more an hour.
So in other words, you're saying that the same work that you're doing at non-union facilities of Holland Case, they're paying $6 and $7 more an hour?
That's correct. That's correct.
And what is your wage?
So currently the wage right now is $20.93. And that $20.93 has a growing period of 1 year. So basically they would come in at 92% of $20.93 and go up every 3 months until that year seniority date, and then they would be at the 2093.
Now, 2093, and you're saying that at other places they pay $26 an hour, or they pay at
26 and 27.
27,
Yes.
26 or 27. And what you're part of the UAW.
That's correct.
The agricultural implements, there are other companies, Deer and other companies that do the same work that you're doing. What is their salary?
Deer's wages are higher. In fact, on top of Deer's wages being higher, they do not have healthcare premiums, and all of those people have pensions. They have profit sharing. If we were presented with a Deer agreement, we would not be on strike. So, what Deer has, I would say, is pretty fair. That people can work for a decent wage, take care of their family, and retire with dignity. I don't think that's too much to ask for with a company that's making billions of dollars every year. I don't think it's too much to ask for.
In this case, Holland, you say they're very profitable. How much are they making?
Oh, yeah. Seeing it. So Case New Holland, to put it into perspective, in quarter three, according to them, this isn't me, according to them, they made $500 million profit in quarter three of 2022. So when you take, $500 million profit in one quarter on top of spending $300 million for stock buybacks, I think that they could figure out where to get the money to make this agreement fair. I really challenge the company to present us a fair agreement.
And the fact that they're paying the non-union employees who are doing the same work so much more money an hour, what does that say about the company?
Well, I will say this, and from my opinion, what it says about the company is a couple of things. One, they don't want to pay represented facilities more money than a non-represented facility. And two is the way to go about doing that is to keep the wages and benefits suppressed in a represented facility. So there are 3 facilities in North America that are represented, 2 UAW and 1 IAM facility. Now, the IAM facility, they are paid more than the 2 UAW facilities. And from my understanding of why that is they have to compete with the oil fields in Fargo, North Dakota. And they know that in order to attract and retain the talent that's required to make those facilities run, or I should say that facility run, that they have to pay a certain type of wage. So.
And this is an international company. Do they have operations around the world?
Oh, yes. This is global. This is a global corporation. They have several operations around the world. Several. So, in fact, my plant supplies parts and components to other facilities outside of North America. For instance, there's a couple of plants in Brazil that we supply transmissions and axles to. And there is a plant in Antwerp that we supply valves to. So,
and are these plants unionized overseas?
I would venture to say that the Brazil plants aren't. I'm not for sure if the Antwerp plant is, but I do know that they do have represented facilities over in the European Union. And
you're been on strike since May. That's been probably very difficult.
Yes.
And why don't you talk about the conditions? I mean, trying to survive in this country going on strike. What is it like for your members?
I would be lying to you if I told you, it's a walk in the park. it takes a lot of dedication to stay on strike 7 months going into 8 months. So, there's been challenges, as to be expected. However, we still remain strong.
And also, I understand that I don't know if it was you or a member of your local at the UAW convention tried to raise the strike payments from $400 to $500. Is that?
Yes, that was me. So I was the one that brought something out of resolution and brought it forward to be voted on. So yes, that was me that brought that forward. And
what did you get a good response when you brought it up?
Yeah, initially, yes, I did. Yes. It was overwhelming support for it that Wednesday afternoon or evening, overwhelming support. And somehow that support changed its mind the next day, so.
Were you still at the convention when there was a revote on the proposal?
Yes, I was.
And what happened at that? It sounds
so there was I'll tell you, so there was chatter that morning when I was on my way to the convention. Some people were coming up to me stating that, hey, they plan to overturn what you did yesterday. And I said, well, okay. I said, if that's what the constituents want, I mean, there's really nothing much I can do about it besides, if it comes forward, present why I think it needs to remain at what was passed, So, as the day went on, more and more chatter came about that, what they were planning to do. So.
And how did you feel about that?
I was not happy. I was definitely not happy. I felt as though my union brothers betrayed me. So,
yeah,
it's one thing to do what I did as far as bringing some out of resolution and be voted on while everybody is present. It's a whole nother to bring something back that was voted on by everybody the previous day. And now that, people have already left, now you want to bring it back up to rescind it. I just thought that was very distasteful.
And the other issue is organizing. I know the UAW is just won an organizing victory of an EV battery plant. And
yes,
they're trying to organize in the South. They've spent millions and millions of dollars. They're trying to organize companies in the South, foreign imports. And these companies have spent millions fighting the union and fired workers. They retaliated against workers. It seems like that if the UAW is going to transform itself and be able to organize these unorganized plants, they're going to have to be playing a different game plan.
Yes, this is true. In fact, I believe that if all of CNH was organized, we would not be on strike right now.
So not having 100% UAW organized or all union organized would make the difference about your actual situation at the plant.
If all of the CNH plants were organized in North America and the UAW called a strike, I think that we would have seen something very similar to what we've seen with John Deere. John Deere was on strike 4 or 5 weeks, and that was it. When a company can't produce, that is a tool in the toolbox that can be used to either further your position, with the strike. And I think that CNH is terrified of the UAW facilities maybe getting something equal to, a non-represented facility. I know that they're terrified of the UAW getting something better than a non-represented facility. So,
And of course, this is a common practice of corporations in America. They'll pay workers at non-union facilities more than unionized facilities. And they're trying at Starbucks, as a matter of fact, to say that the workers who've organized a union at Starbucks, they're going to make less than other non-union facilities. So it seems to be a common operating procedure to prevent the unionization of workers.
Yes, for sure. And, I think what people really have to realize and look at is that a lot of these places right now that don't have unions but are paying, good compensation and benefits, doing that, the majority are only doing that because they don't want to have people organized there. So in order to keep people organized in a facility, if you make it nice for them, then in their eyes, there's no need to organize. So
do you think this is a union busting tactic?
in the wages and working conditions, of course, just think about this. What other reason do they have to? It's not like this facility is not profitable. So just look at it from this standpoint. John Deere went on strike 5 weeks. And, now we get into a situation where, okay, John Deere didn't produce for 5 weeks. So if John Deere's customers cannot get product, then the alternative to that is now I have to look somewhere else to get this tool that I need to do whatever I'm doing, right? So CNH has been out on strike, right? I take that back. The UAW has been out on strike 7, 8 months. CNH is maybe producing something. I'm not even gonna call it a tractor, but they may be producing something because I'm sure it's not up to UAW standards, but that's another discussion. So ultimately what's going to end up happening, and this is, I hope I'm wrong about this because this could impact my members, but CNH will lose market share. People go other places to buy tractors. And, once somebody crosses over to a different tractor brand, they may not come back. So the only winners in this situation, this labor dispute that we have going on, is the lawyer, CNH's lawyer primarily. That's the only winner in this, because I believe CNH will lose market share with not being able to produce product. There was already issues before the strike with producing product due to COVID and the pandemic and all of that stuff. Now you got a labor dispute where people that are skilled to put this product together aren't in the facility to do so.
And how did COVID affect your members?
Oh man, it was terrible. So COVID affected my members a couple different ways. I think some of them really seen what the company thinks of them by how the company treated them during COVID. There was situations where the proper PPE was not made available for my members. The company was not following CDC guidelines. And, during that time, schools weren't open and daycares weren't open. So at that point, you cannot just, leave your kids at home. So there was some instances where, the company didn't care about, kids being left at home or who's watching them or whatever. They needed that person in the plant to produce. They really didn't care. So it was a very trying time during that pandemic.
And you tried to defend your members. How did the union work?
Of course. So one of the things that we did, there was some people that the company wanted to terminate, for attendance, and there was instances where we were, we had to fight to have them continue being employed by CNH, for things that were, I would consider, no fault of their own. So, and also we had to fight to get the proper PPE and have the company follow CDC guidelines. The company wanted to say that 1 meter is okay for social distancing, where the CDC says it's 6 feet. So I don't think 1 meter equals 6 feet. So, there was challenges where, we really had to get involved and say, look, you need to fix it, and you need to fix it now, or, we're going to have to exercise other measures. So.
And did they respond to that?
So we did have to get a senator involved. So we did have to get some elected officials involved in order for them to do what needed to be done. So.
And presently, are the plants still operating?
Yeah, they are still operating. I would say within 2 hours, they brought scabs in to do our jobs, or attempt to do our jobs anyway. So yes, they're still running.
And what are they paying these scabs?
A lot more than they want to pay my guys. So I'm not sure exactly what they are paying them now, but I know in the beginning they were paying these scabs anywhere from $2,500 to $3,500 a week.
$2,500 to $3,500 a week.
Yes.
And what is your salary a week at $20 an hour?
Yeah, definitely not that much. So yeah.
So they're paying them a lot of money.
A lot of money. Paying them a lot of money per diem, you name it, housing, allowance, all of this stuff. So yes, a lot of money.
It sounds like they may be spending millions to fight you.
Of course, every week. I'm sure they're spending millions every week to keep us out.
So they're making an investment really to weaken and possibly bust your union. Is that what their plans are?
That's, in my opinion, that's what this is all about. Other than that, I really don't see the need to keep offering a substandard agreement in 2022. The company has came to the UAW in years past and previous agreements and said, hey, things haven't been that good. We need a little relief on this. We need a little relief on that. And the union has agreed to that to help the company out. And now that the company is doing well, they do not want to reciprocate, what was done with them. In fact, during the pandemic, we were deemed essential. However, I have not seen a contract offer or agreement that says that we are considered essential still. So, they said, right after the pandemic, they say, hey, look, we really appreciate what you guys did. When these contract negotiations come up, more or less that they will look out for us. And I haven't seen it yet. So.
And you're trying to reach out to union locals. I know that some recently elected regional director English from Detroit is locals agree. Why don't you talk about the kind of support you're getting from UAW locals and other trade unions around the state and around the country in this rally that you're going to have on December the 17th?
Yeah, so the support that we've got from other unions, not specifically UAW, although there have been some UAW facilities, or I should say locals, that have definitely helped out, but it's been an enormous amount of support from all of the different unions, whether it's the IAM, whether it's the steel workers, whatever. It's been an enormous amount of support from a lot of those people, and I truly appreciate it. I would say that I was not expecting to receive all of the support that we have, but I am definitely grateful for it. It's been people, in fact, in the beginning of the strike, it was somebody that reached out to me from across the pond over there in Europe, and they said that they were probably going to be striking over there as well. And so the support has been from all over, not just UAW places. So.
And this rally that you're going to have, it seems like the solidarity it's engendering, workers feel now that what's happening to you is an outrage, that you've been on strike for 7 months, and you're not asking for the world. You're asking, actually, you're not even asking for parity with the Deer workers. So,
No, and you know, parity with the Deer workers would be great. It really would be. I think that getting parity with the Deer workers does two things. One, it makes CNH back a career-oriented place, and two, it creates equality and makes it a level playing field between John Deere and CNH. Because one thing that can happen if this agreement is too low, I would say it could put John Deere at an unfair advantage. And, you know, that may get revisited when their contract is up. So, you know, if we could get parity among, you know, Deere and, you know, Caterpillar's coming up next, if there was parity between all three, that would definitely level the playing field amongst the ag sector. You know, they do it in, you know, the big three, GM, Ford, and Chrysler, or whatever they want to call themselves now, Stellantis. You know, they do pattern bargaining there. It would be great to do pattern bargaining with ag imp department. So,
and also another issue in the labor movement is the fight against two tiers. Some
yes.
workers making less than other workers doing the same work. That must be an issue that angers workers and divides workers.
Yes. It definitely does. The irony with this two-tier wage system, some of my guys on the first tier have not got a wage increase in over 20 years. So even though these people are making what I would consider to be okay money right now, they haven't got a raise in over 20 years. So I think that needs to change as well. You know, to work somewhere, you know, for the length of time that they have and not received a raise, other than COLA. And, you know, COLA is suspended right now. So, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I've been working at this place 25 years or whatever, however long, and I have not got a raise in 20 of them. That's pretty bad.
And how do you survive with the inflation now and the cost of living?
You don't. I mean, this is how you survive: overtime. That is, I would say, one of the only ways that you could survive is overtime. You know, inflation is not just a CNH UAW problem, but it is a, you know, I would say a global problem, especially in the US. You know, when you really look at a dozen eggs is $5 now. You know, I remember a dozen eggs was under $1, and it wasn't that long ago that, you know, they were $1.50 or so. So inflation will take your money faster than anything. And, you know, COLA is the protection against inflation, cost of living adjustment. So that's why, you know, COLA was instituted to protect people from inflation. So, you know, I would say over the course of a year, you know, they saying inflation's only been 8 or 9%. I really challenge that number, and I think it's more like 20%. You know, when you really see how much food is going up, just basic necessities that you have to use, everything is up in the double digits, not single digits. In fact, here, the provider for the majority of electricity and natural gas in the state of Wisconsin, We Energies, just announced that they're doing a price hike of 13%. 13% in 1 year. So, the only thing that you can do to battle against inflation is one of two things. Either you work more hours to get a second job, or you cut back. It's one of the two. But the wage compensation is definitely not keeping up with inflation. If inflation is 8 or 9% and you only getting 5%, or let's say you are getting 8 or 9%, you may be keeping up with inflation, maybe. And that's a big maybe. But then you run into a situation, insurance. Is the insurance capped? Because if it's not, then you lose the money, because now you got to pay more for insurance. So,
and you're actually
it's tough.
paying a premium for insurance. You're not like the Deer workers where their insurance is paid for. What are your members paying for insurance for healthcare?
So this is what the company proposed for healthcare. They wanted somebody with a family to pay out of pocket $13,200. Yeah, I'm seeing a look on your face, and you're like, "What?" So yeah, that's
you're making $20 an hour, and they want you to pay $13,000 a year for healthcare.
Yes, that was what they had proposed. So as negotiations went on, they kind of fell back from that position. However, it is not capped. So they may cap it 1 year, and then it may run wild the next 3 years. So there are no protections against, the insurance rising to an astronomical number. And as we all know, it's not a matter of if, but when you'll have to use the insurance in some form or fashion. So
you're talking actually about pay cuts, big pay cuts of your members.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm.
And what can people do who want to support your struggle, your strike?
So a couple of things. One is they can attend this rally on the 17th. If they cannot attend the rally on the 17th, they can send in any type of donation that they want to the local, which is located at 3323 Kearney Avenue, and that's in Racine, Wisconsin, and that is 53403. Also, if the people have any connections or know of any contracts that CNH is with the government, I challenge the elected officials to reach out to CNH and say, hey, look, if you guys continue to take this stance with the UAW, we are going to have to reconsider whether or not we will buy any more equipment from you guys in the future. Also, something I want to put out there is that my members cannot access their FSA accounts or HSA accounts due to the fact that we're on strike. So this is money that my members have set aside to pay for medical expenses as they come up throughout the year. And now they can't access that money because we're out on strike. And the company is self-insured. So this is pretty ridiculous that we have to go without being able to access this money because we're on strike, even though we put this money into an account. So I think that's pretty ridiculous.
It's your own members. It's
another
your own
thing,
members' money.
I think people. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, yeah, it's just really sad. Overall, what's going on, and people have dedicated their lives to this place, and for the company to act in the manner that they act in, I think is pretty egregious, especially when we only asking for a fair contract. We have not presented anything that was outlandish, and yet the company has been pretty outlandish with their their offers, you know. So
It sounds like they really provoked your strike.
Oh yeah, I would say so.
By
So yeah,
not providing
they
a decent offer. It sounds like they
yeah,
wanted you to strike, and they're spending millions of dollars trying to bust your union.
yes, they cut the insurance off May 13th. So and like I said, they self-insured, so you know, they could have easily left it on. You know, in the Deer strike, they cut the insurance off, I believe, for like a day or two. And once it got out what they did, they turned it back on. Right. So the company, in my opinion, is in total control of ending this. You know, the CEO likes to get in the press and state that they've made all of these efforts to try and resolve the matter and offer a fair agreement. And I really challenge Scott Wine to show me where is there any fairness in what they've presented. And how is this agreement or offer that they presented fair when it's less than the non-represented places? I really challenge them to show me how is this fair. You know, truly, I'm not trying to be smart about it or be a wise ass or anything like that. I really challenge the company, specifically Scott Wine, because he's the one that commented and said that they did everything to present a fair agreement, to show me where is it fair at.
And how much is he making?
So the last time I checked, 20 million, you know.
So the CEO is making 20 million, and he's telling you and your members that you have to stay around $20 an hour.
Yeah.
It sounds
really,
good.
Really.
For him.
Yeah. So you know, and that's the thing, right? So it's like CNH used to be a premier employer for this area. They really did. This was a place where somebody could come work at and could take care of their family, with one person working, the man in the house working, taking care of the whole family, and you know, the wife taking care of the kids, and you know, them still being able to have a decent life, right, and retire with dignity. That is no longer the case, no pun intended. So now, you know, it takes people, both parents in the house, to work in order just to pay the bills. Not talking about any type of lifestyle, but just to exist. I think that's pretty sad that somebody that works at a company that's making billions of dollars, that's paying their CEO $20 million, that they have to resort to either working overtime or picking up a second job to make ends meet. And let's not kid ourselves either. This is not like California or New York or any place like that where the cost of living is high. The cost of living in Racine is pretty affordable. It is not. It's not one of those, like I said, areas where, you know, even somebody making $150,000 a year is considered broke after paying all the living expenses. You know, so I just want to make sure that that's clear. You know, this is a place where MIT did the study, 2019 study, that said that in order for somebody to the livable wage here for somebody with two kids is $31 an hour in Racine, and this was in 2019. And I think that Stevie Wonder could see that the cost of living has went up higher in 2022 than it was in 2019. So, like I said, what we are asking for is is not out of line. It is truly fair. Now, we could have went in there and been asking for things that are unfair, but we didn't want to go on strike. We wanted to avoid that. So in order to think logically, at least on our side, we said, okay, this is the demands, and this is really what the people want. Obviously more money, caps on insurance, the excessive overtime. During COVID, people lost family members and really seeing what was important to them. So people want more time off with their families. People want to be able to have vacation without the company dictating when they can use it. People want to be able to have more than 1 week vacation and not have to work 5 years to get 2 weeks vacation. It's just really sad, all of the non-economic issues that are going on within the agreement. I can't think of any place where you have to work 5 years to get 2 weeks off, and then the company's going to dictate when you can use it. That's pretty sad. And so, like I
when you talk
earlier,
about basic human rights, it seems like you're more like a slave than a human being. I mean,
yes,
to be in those
yes,
conditions.
yes, and you are on home release. So you go home for a little bit and then you come back. So yeah, it's truly sad. What the place has turned into. Like I stated, they used to be a premier employer. Everybody wanted to work at CNH or Case. That is no longer the case now. It is no longer the case now. I predict that a lot of people may find jobs other places with companies that may treat them better. And the skill set that's required to put this product together is not something that's easily attainable. It takes a certain skill set in order to be able to put these things together to make it work. So
it's actually, you're downgrading even the skill level that's required by getting less people who aren't qualified.
Oh yeah. So the company did not want to raise the wages prior to the agreement expiring. They did not want to raise the wages. So what they did is they lowered their hiring standards. When if they would have just raised the wages, that would have attracted the people that they needed to make the product. So, it's like I said, the only winners in this situation is the company attorney. I don't know what his billable hour rate is, but I do know that it has been some lengthy negotiations that he's been a part of. So,
and on the picket line, have there been use of police against your members? What's happening with trying to protect the picket line?
So in the beginning of the strike, they had police out there 24/7. I'm sure that bill had to be astronomical to have a policeman out there 24/7, and they had more than one. So as the strikers went on, they kind of scaled back from having the police out there like that, how they did in the beginning. So but to answer your question, no, I would say Mount Pleasant has been very good with us during this labor dispute.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
And the replacement workers or scabs, do they bring them by buses or cars? How do they bring them in?
So initially they had a lot coming in strictly by bus or vans. Now they're allowing them to drive into the parking lot. So like I stated, as this strike is carrying on, they are looking at ways to reduce spending that money that they were spending in the beginning. So it's still some vans coming in, but if they can reduce, all of these vans coming in and have people, driving their own cars, I'm sure they'll be happy about that. As well as, I don't know how much of the accident that happened where some people were killed, how much that played into letting people drive their own cars into the facility. Because there was a terrible van accident where some people lost their lives, and these were replacement workers that were on their way to the facility. So,
And where are they getting these workers from?
I really don't know. I would assume from all over.
So they're spending a fortune bringing in
Oh, yeah.
workers
Oh,
from
yeah. Oh, yeah.
other places to be used as scabs, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they spending a fortune, you know, to the firm that they hire to bring these people in. I believe now they're using a temp agency to bring these people in. So, yeah. But either way it goes, yeah, they are definitely spending a fortune to bring these people in to do whatever. I hear there's not a lot of production going on in there. I really don't know, but yeah. What I can tell you is from some videos that have been sent to me, it doesn't look like much is being built in there. So
I want to thank you. We've been talking with Yasin Mahdi. He's the president of UAW Local 180 Case Holland, and he's been talking about what it's like being on strike for 7 months, why they went on strike, the profitability of the company and what they're demanding, and why working people, trade unions, all working people should support that important struggle for justice and human rights, which I think you're engaged in. So thanks for joining us, Yasin.
no problem. Thank you for having me on. I truly want to thank everybody that has participated in some form or fashion in supporting us. It's greatly appreciated.